calls for the removal of ill-disciplined police and CS officers. War of words continues between Baki and Opposition. And keeping women and girls safe in public spaces.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. The Tuesday rampage at Parliament was bad enough, but not much was said on the attack of journalists who were first on the scene. 3 journalists were assaulted and their camera equipment smashed in front of the Parliament House. One of the journalists had 8 officers punching him at one time, while another almost had her top ripped off.
The actions of police and CS officers has the media fraternity questioning whether or not people understand the core responsibility of journalism in PNG. With the Media Council saying media practitioners are sick and tired of ignorant members of state agencies attacking journalists because they feel they are above the law. Media Council President Neville Choi said the latest incident only proves that there is something terribly wrong with the disciplinary forces. In a media statement from PNG FM where 2 of the journalists work, they said the journalists were simply doing their jobs and this attack is an attack on media freedom. MTV News questioned the police commissioner if he was aware of the incident and if police and CS officers will be charged.
All right, I think we've always been very mindful about that. I know we have some incidents where journalists have been also assaulted by members of the police, but this is, it's press freedom of press. They've got every right to take and to do what they have to do. But at that time, maybe the emotions of the men have allowed them to do this, but it is also wrong for them to do that.
CS Acting Commissioner Stephen Pokanis has also made similar remarks.
We have been, assaulted, or swatted, abused, physically pushed. Let me know.
The Media Council President has called on the Police Commissioner to stay true to his word for an investigation and that the media industry will not rest until these thugs in uniform are removed from the force. PNG FM has lodged their complaints with both police and CS for investigation and charges to follow for those who were involved. The Media Council says if nothing is done, it is a disgrace to the RPNGC crest and all it stands for. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
The police commissioner says investigations will reveal whether the police and correctional service personnel that caused destruction at Parliament House were heavily influenced by politicians. Gary Baki questioned why opposition members were also at their Parliament office earlier than the 2 p.m. sitting time. He singled out Madang MP Brian Kramer for his live commentary on social media following the incident.
Disappointed Commissioner, yes.
Police Commissioner Gary Baki says the actions taken by police and CIS officers in destroying sections of the Parliament was politically motivated.
Our men have been highly influenced, and I must say that it has been politically motivated.
The opposition were in Parliament preparing for their response to the 2019 national budget and have denied any involvement.
Blame the opposition of inciting violence when the security personnel moved into Parliament. We do not own the checkbook of government.
Baki at the media conference yesterday asked why Madang MP Brian Kramer had gone live on Facebook inside Parliament when the incident happened. He also asked why the opposition were in Parliament at the first place when the sitting was at 2 p.m.
Why did they go to Parliament and windows have been smashed and next minute you have one of the veteran Facebook, what do you call them? He's there, Brian Kramer, making a statement, taking it on a video and posting it everywhere. And people go to believe all this kind of rubbish.
If he believes I was involved.
Kramer has categorically denied any involvement in Tuesday's incident.
First of all, I'd like to categorically deny any involvement relating to the unfortunate incident where security forces stormed Parliament House.
Kramer says the video went live after the incident and pointed out that the police in the video had come in to protect them from the others who attacked Parliament.
So then I walked throughout to check the building to see in terms of whether the extent of the damage and also in terms of whether there was anyone seriously injured. It was at that time that I did a recording. So my recording on and upload on my phone, Facebook account, was after the fact, after the incident. If he believes I was involved and his evidence is what I posted on Facebook and he thinks that's probable, then he can arrest me.
Baki says the police are carrying out investigations, but says the matter also involves members of the constabulary who are after the commissioner's job, who are supposedly conspiring with politicians.
And I must stress here that I am also aware that some members of the constabulary, quite a number of senior officers in the organization, are also part and parcel of this. They are conspiring with politicians because they want the job of the commissioner.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV News.
Telecom PNG has received positive acknowledgement from APEC member economy delegates, international media and prominent Papua New Guinea business leaders. This is for ICT services provided during the APEC Leaders Week.
Team of more than 200 staff were actively involved in delivering and maintaining ICT services during APEC Leaders Week. The company's chief executive officer reported that the coverage they provided has been described as second to none by the international community, and delegates who were here for the meet.
This time it was a completely different experience. We were able to deliver to the expectations of all the member economies. We were able to deliver to what APEC coordinating authorities' expectations were, and we feel that we have delivered.
Most of the members of the telecom team and the APEC ICT team were local expats, and it was a milestone for the company and the country. Director of the APEC Information Technology commended Telecom PNG for the effective fiber cable infrastructure and radio equipment that was provided to not only the key areas but also the 3 cruise ships.
Even though there may be some bandwidth limitation, but we had a very good stability. No complaints so far from the cruise ships, 3 cruise ships. International Media Center was, Wi-Fi was perfect. ICC, all good. You know, I believe we did a very good job.
Datacom PNG Managing Director Paul Comboy thanked the Australian government for an investment in delivering additional satellite capacity.
I'd like to really thank Australian government for an investment in the backhaul in the O3B system itself. I think that really made us successful in delivering the services during the APEC.
Michelle Awamoromoro, National EMTV News.
So it has been a very eventful week. The world's attention on Papua New Guinea and the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, the Russian Prime Minister Medvedev and China's President Xi all here for the leaders' summit that ended in disagreements. Papua New Guinea, however, did gain from the meeting. A tripartite deal between Australia, New Zealand and America will see the development of an electrification project that will serve up to 7 out of every 10 households in Papua New Guinea. The aftermath was marred by troops who stormed Parliament in protest over unpaid allowances.
As APEC fever slowly subsides, many are counting the gains and losses of the intense week of meetings. The week culminated with APEC leaders addressing the CEO summit and the leaders summit that followed. The Chinese delegation, headed by President Xi Jinping, came with expectations of important trade gains at the APEC summit. President Xi stayed for a 4-day state visit, during which he opened the Independence Boulevard and a school funded by Chinese aid. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence arrived in Cairns the night before, then traveled to Port Moresby on the morning of the CEO summit. And even before the Leaders Summit and the CEO Summit, many commentators were expecting fireworks. The gloves came off when President Xi told the CEO Summit that China's help was in no way intended to keep their partners indebted to them.
Developed countries should honor their commitments on official development assistance and increase support to developing countries.
Then, when U.S. Vice President Mike Pence took the podium, he really got into it, warning countries about staying out of debt and to remain as sovereign states without compromising independence.
Do not accept foreign debt that could compromise your sovereignty. Protect your interests, preserve your independence, and just like America, always put your country first.
As the discussions over the trading of blows continued for the rest of the day in the next 36 hours, other events also came to the domain of public discussion. Papua New Guineans discussed how local and international media were barred by Chinese officials from events where President Xi spoke. And this included bilateral meetings between China and Pacific Island leaders. So as those discussions continued and world leaders left Port Moresby for their own countries, a simmering issue resurfaced. From a morning meeting with JSTF Commander Gary Baki at the Rita Flynn netball courts, police and CS officers made it clear that they were unhappy about unpaid allowances. They later stormed Parliament House as MPs prepared to hear the opposition's reply to the 2019 budget. 2 radio journalists were attacked, parliamentary staff were assaulted, and the doors, windows and walls damaged by the police and CS officers. Yesterday, Grand Chief Sir Michael Samare went to Parliament House. It was during his term that the structure was built. He was disappointed with the effects of the wanton destruction.
It's very, very bad, you know, and I can't help it. I can talk about it more.
Police Commissioner Gary Baki, meanwhile, has called the storming of Parliament politically motivated, generating a new round of debate, interwoven with calls for him to resign.
If you're a politician and you have something to do with the destructions of the Parliament House, you should be ashamed of yourself.
And as the week closed with assurances from Finance that all APAC payments would be honored, we take a look at some of the more concrete achievements, or at least agreements, that will help move the country forward. A future agricultural collaboration with the Philippines, a tripartite agreement for better power services in efforts to make consistent power supply available to all PNG households, and a total of 14 areas PNG and China will be working closely on to further development. Neville Choi, National EMTV News.
This is National EMTV News. We go for a break now, but stay tuned. We'll be back with more of today's stories on the other side.
Whatever our work may be, sing out strong as far as you can see. Whatever language people are taught, come on, everyone join in. An exciting adventure is about to begin. 'Cause there's one thing we all know, when it's time to get up and go. Sharing stories make the call. Our favorite biscuit, the best of all. M now, PFG. M now, PFG. M now, PFG.
The IPI Group is PNG's most innovative, dynamic and diverse logistics company, totally focused on delivering outstanding service. Our diversified divisions span from major warehousing, bulk fuel and road transport to large-scale commercial catering. The IPI Group of companies will be your partner, supplying tailor-made logistics solutions.
Hello, name below me Lua Rikis. Taimi Pilai Netball Wantan PNG Peppers national team. May lo practice lo come up good all get a time. Taimi Pilai Pinis, all get a good la passing lo wasim han one time soap me mas making. Before me kai kai or behind lo golo toilet. Also na all get a time midi lo practice wasim han one time soap.
In our harsh and vibrant landscape, Dulux Weather Shield is the perfect choice to protect your building against everything Mother Nature throws at it. Worth doing, worth Dulux.
At Brian Bell Home Centers, we know that good sports always win. Whether you're kicking the goal for your team or reaching for great heights, pushing a little harder to go that extra mile to achieve your personal best. So when you're ready to unleash the champion within, Go to Brian Bell Home Centers. We have everything you need to make your sports activities a winning experience.
Introducing Mosin Fresh Noodles. Raspberry. Pineapple. Calamansi. Orange. Lemon. Lime. Mango and cola. Mosin Fresh Noodles. Proudly manufactured and distributed by PTC Industries.
Next Wednesday on Marvel Runaways. Nico investigates staff of one, but is unable to control its power and calls Alex for help.
What did I say about this?
Why is he? He doesn't know.
What the hell? Now, you could have called anyone for help, but you called me. Sorry to bug you, but I ran into Carol.
Marvel Runaways, next Wednesday, 9 p.m. right here on your #1 to watch, EMTV.
Welcome back to the news. During the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, various NGOs, the private and public sectors and members of the public have continued to show tremendous support towards the campaign against GBV. For PNG, this global campaign awareness promotes the importance of keeping women safe at home and in public places, both in cities and towns.
Stop, please.
On Wednesday, men, women and children gathered inside the busy Boroko market to engage in the community awareness program by UN Women in PNG and the Sana One Time campaign team. Random people were selected from the crowd to participate in the awareness activities. The message for the audiences was to make public places safe for women and girls.
We are so glad that we did a discussion around how women and girls and even the public men and women could access the market safely, and what are some of the responsibilities or actions we would take as public audience on how to create this market or public space safer for women and girls to move around without any fear of violence or harassment.
Today, November 23rd is the 5th day of the 16 days of activism. Today was the International Day to End Violence Against Women Day. Today began with a walk from Sir Hubert Murray Stadium down to Ella Beach and backward to Harborside, Port Moresby. Leading the walk this morning was NCD Governor Powis Pakop, members of the respective private and government organizations and the general public. Governor Pakop highlighted some points concerning the importance of ending violence against women and girls.
Together as a community, in workplace, in school place, in marketplace, in our church place, everywhere, we can make a very big difference.
Belisi PNG and Oil Sets Foundation organizations are both strong advocates in raising awareness on the importance of addressing issues affecting women in companies and in broader communities. A number of events happening to raise more awareness of keeping women safe in Port Moresby and PNG as a whole as part of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Amanda Rimu, National EMTV News.
A senior employee of Lae City Council and his family are still being accommodated in a public office in town after being evicted last week from the state property they were living in since 2010. Lae City Planner Celestine Ramang was issued an evacuation order by police to vacate the property. This follows an eviction order issued to the city planner by Myrobes Hayaka, the company that bought the property off from Lae City Council. According to the city planner, they are still waiting to be accommodated because Lae City Council doesn't have money to look for a new home.
This is Lae's JICA project office located in town next to the Lae district office. The office deals with the project study of Lae Nadzap Urban Development Plan. For now, the office is currently serving two purposes. It's being used as a home at night and an office during the day. Lae Planning Manager Celestine Ramang is currently living in this office with his family after he was evicted last week Thursday from this property that was owned by Lae City Council.
Like I said, house have been identified. The problem that we have now is that we have to pay upfront payment and bond fee. That's why we still haven't found any money yet. So
This used to be the property of Lay City Council then, which is now Lay City Authority. The Lay City planning manager Celestine Rameng and his family occupied it since 2010 until Thursday last week. On 16 June in 2016, during an executive council meeting, the previous council, with the presence of the Lord Mayor, the 5 ward councillors and the former city manager, considered the sale of this property to Myropes Distribution Limited. On the 9th of May last year, Myropes Distribution Limited paid this property at a cost of 1 million kina to the vendor, that is Lay Urban Local Level Government. The new registered owner of the property that must be checked before selling or buying a government property. Lay's planning manager said the previous council, when selling this state property, did not consider these procedures. Rameng said this is one of the many properties sold by the Lay City Council. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
Madang police are only dealing with serious cases, while offenders with minor complaints are asked to settle their grievances out of court or go through counselling. This is because police are not able to arrest and detain prisoners at the Jomba police station cell block. The cell blocks were condemned in December last year and are currently undergoing renovation and maintenance.
The Jomba police station cell was condemned last year following a court order by the National Court Judge in Madang, Justice David Kennings, in December. Following the order, police now have a daunting task. With no cell blocks to detain offenders, they are advising the general public in Madang that they will only deal with serious incidents.
Especially serious offenders have been arrested and charged and raised a remand warrant. We still continue to do that. The cells are still waiting to be completed before we open for business. The station cells here at Jomba.
This is creating another problem for the Beyond Correctional Facility: overcrowding. The correctional institution is accommodating remandees from the condemned Jomba police station cell, and it has already exceeded its holding capacity of 200 inmates.
Overcrowding is one of the main problems that I'm facing now with my officers, but we are trying to manage.
Meanwhile, with the increasing number of remandees at Beyond, it creates yet another problem: the increasing number of court cases. In August this year, EMTV spoke to Senior Provincial Magistrate Josephine Kilage, who confirmed Madang has only one magistrate to deal with the increasing number of court cases. She says there should be 8 magistrates in the province. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
The board of the St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital in East New Britain is appealing to surrounding communities to respect the hospital and its staff. Hospital Administrator Albert Seri made the plea following ongoing harassment of hospital staff and the frequent breaking and entering into hospital premises. The board's plea comes 4 days after a burglary incident prompted the hospital to close its doors for 3 days and refuse services to show their frustration.
The St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital is not a fancy hospital, but it is one of the 2 largest referral hospitals in East New Britain province, catering to a significant population of East New Britain's 300,000 men, women and children. Over the course of this year, the hospital was forced to scale down its operations, prompted by 2 separate incidents. In June, armed men broke into the female nurses' quarters and stole their belongings. The management closed the hospital for 2 days and sent patients away to show their frustration. 5 days ago, a similar incident happened yet again. The hospital has since closed its doors from those seeking medical services.
Management made a decision that we should close St. Mary's Hospital for an indefinite period. The reason why we are passing this housing is basically to address outstanding issues and to also address the situation that did come up.
After numerous meetings following last weekend's incident, the hospital board have reached a resolution. They agreed to reopen the hospital on Wednesday, but on one condition: asking the nearby communities to respect the health facility and its staff.
I believe we cannot continue like this. people will need to take ownership and support us in the delivery of health services that we provide here at the hospital.
Although the hospital is categorized as a Level 3 hospital, it is performing the roles and functions of a Level 5 health facility, and its closure over the past 3 days has greatly affected the entire province. Last weekend's incident is not the first and may not be the last, but the senior management of the hospital have made a bold stand, calling on the locals not to do the same again, as any similar incident in the future may prompt a more dire outcome. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Meanwhile, the board of St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital has joined the nationwide call for drug shortages facing health facilities all over the country. Director of Medical Services at the hospital, Dr. Felix Diaku, said they don't always get all the basic essentials they need. He says the hospital has to order from local pharmacies when the medicines they need don't arrive on time.
At the St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital's outpatient, patients are waiting for their turn to be served. But not everyone who is waiting here will go back home with all the medical treatment they need. Some of them will go back with prescription notes to buy medicine at the local pharmacies.
An ongoing problem, and we see that the distribution is still lacking and we don't get what we used to get like in the past.
The reason has been one of national outrage.
Yes, I think like all concern raised by many health facilities in the country, within New Guinea Islands region, and for us in East New Britain, we are also facing drug shortage and supplies. Our main area where we see shortage almost like every month or every time is medical oxygen.
The hospital's management says they had to buy basic essentials from the local pharmacies when they ran out of supplies or when there aren't enough supplies coming from the area medical store. The hospital then charges patients to buy from them.
So from what fees we generate, hospital is buying local pharmacies within the province, or even we ask the local pharmacists to order from outside of the province. And then patient still has to pay some money so that we can continue buying those medicine to give to patient.
Health services are meant to be free to all from the national government, but that hasn't been the case here.
Although government is giving the 100% kit equal on all health facilities, but the content inside Londisla more or less equal up on all fluids, all drips or something else, which are all antibiotics now all this necessary medicine where all sick money needing, plenty.
Here in East New Britain, the march talked about free healthcare services means nothing. St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital is one of the health facilities in East New Britain province that has spoken out about the severe drug shortages it is experiencing, and there are other health facilities in the province facing similar problems but who have chosen not to say anything. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
2 weeks ago, the Department for Community Development and Religion launched the National Database for Churches. That database shows which churches are out there in Papua New Guinea and what services they provide, such as education, health and community development. Yesterday, it launched the Civil Society Organization Database, the database for non-government organizations in Papua New Guinea.
The database launched will be the national platform for the government where all necessary information about NGOs will be entered, along with how much money they have been given to work on certain projects. This information can be tapped into by the government and international NGOs to fund and support local NGOs. For churches, entering their database was much easier because they had manual database that contributed to the whole database, unlike for NGOs. Team leader Leonie Rakanangu and her team were smart enough to create this platform where NGOs can provide data which can be entered.
We usually give out funds, and many times we did not get value for money as government. That is the reason why we are creating databases, management information systems to enable us to be informed before we take decisions.
The Department for Community Development and Religion signed an initiative to build 89 community development centers in districts throughout Papua New Guinea. The initiative is called Stand Up Impose.
Stand Up Impose is really the final act. When we go in and Stand Up Impose, that means that project will start.
A total of 10 million kina was allocated to this initiative. Minister AOS says the groundbreaking ceremony will start today and finish next week Sunday. AOS says MPs have to organize themselves and be ready.
They need to have DDA to approve the budget, the concept, and the land. And then look at all the building requirements. And when that part is done, then they can advise us.
The first one will be at Imbongu in the Southern Highlands province and out to other provinces. Minister AOS says APAC has opened Papua New Guinea's doors to many opportunities.
Why are we criticizing ourselves? We should be proud of ourselves, positive mindset, and see what we can do, what we can contribute as individuals, so that we can advance. The APAC is the introduction we need to get this country going.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
You're watching Friday's News. We'll be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
You too can now experience the refreshment of pure PNG with True water, sourced from an ancient aquifer, carbon filtered, ultraviolet and ozone treated, and the finest purification with reverse osmosis.
And that means the science lesson is now over. Settle back and refresh yourself with PNG's finest. Reach for a chilled True water. Pure PNG.
Come on, just push it. Come on, just push it. Come on, push it. Push it. Just push it. Just push it. Come on, just push it. All in.
Welcome back to the news. The Hiri Rural Local Level Government yesterday opened its new office and council chambers at Mirigeta in the Central Province. The new office will serve as a venue for active participation between the leaders and the people to improve service delivery.
In a small but significant event, the opening of the new Hiri Rural Local Level Government Office and Chamber marked the start of a new beginning for the district. President of Hiri LLG, Hauda Rogea, thanked the landowners as well as the central provincial government in their assistance towards acquiring land.
Thank you, Badaheria, for the project that you have accepted for to be established there, and as a result, out of the funds that are given for development.
It has taken the Hiri Rural LLG some time to find the ideal location to set up the office. The office was first established in Kaugere and then moved to Konedobu, and today it is finally established in Mirigeta, which will make it easy for people to directly communicate with their leaders.
The establishment in Mirigeta, you will see that we are divided by the city. So every time I want to visit people of West Area, I have to go through the city.
With the decision to increase the wards and electorates, the provincial and LRG authorities have aims of establishing relevant branches and offices according to their developmental plans.
Bautama and all the other land we have, like even here, Mirigeta, these are going to be developed into commercial centers. So we're going to have, here in Bautama, we want to build because it's always been a training center, we want to leave it as such.
Also present at the event was the Central Governor Robert Agarobe, Member for Kairikuhiri Peter Isoaimo, and Minister for Intergovernmental Affairs Kevin Isifu. The governor plans on developing training centers for his people.
Meanwhile, the governor for Central Province plans to work together with the government as well as relevant provincial authorities within the province to conduct a rollout program in preparation for the decentralization of the province in the near future. Elizabeth Guka, National EMTV News.
Year 12 graduates from Port Moresby National High School will be utilizing the online selection system for entry into tertiary institutions. The school principal says the process has been going smoothly.
277 Year 12 students graduated this week from the Port Moresby National High School.
Rachel Kuso.
These students will be utilizing the higher education online selection system when applying further studies.
First selection was done last year. This is the second year we are going to go online for students to be selected. And we believe in the system that it is the best system.
This week's graduation was the 23rd for this national high school after it was established in 1996 by the Japanese government. Present amongst the distinguished guests was Japan's ambassador to PNG, Satoshi Nakajima.
This is my second time to witness the graduation ceremony of your school.
CEO of the National Gaming Control Board, Imelda Egan, provided the keynote address and focused on the theme, Dream, Focus and Achieve. Egan encouraged the graduates never to give up hope, but to discover their talents and make the most of their abilities.
You are the brains of this nation. You are the next leaders of this nation, regardless of where you go.
Port Moresby National High School has consistently been a top-performing school in the country. Its principal, David Dioi, is positive that the graduates of 2018 will help maintain the school's placing in the country.
So this year we believe we are going to prevail at the same position.
Rosemary Yambune, National EMTV News.
Miss Pacific Islands PNG 2018 Leoshina Kariha is among 5 other contestants vying for the Miss Pacific Islands crown. The pageant will be hosted in the Kingdom of Tonga from the 24th to 30th of November with the theme Pacifici Masani, Magnificent Pacific. Miss Kariha and members of the MPIP PNG committee travel to Nuku'alofa in Tonga on Tuesday.
PNG will be the only Melanesian country to participate this year, with the absence of Fiji and Solomon Islands. During Miss Kariha's reign, she will also serve as Miss Tourism PNG through a partnership with the Tourism and Promotion Authority. Upon her arrival on Tuesday, she was given a warm welcome by the pageant organizing committee in Tonga and by Miss Tonga, Kalo Funganitao, a 23-year-old law student at the University of Auckland.
The MPIP committee has been all hands on deck. We are prepared to go with full force, representing our country of 800 cultures and more.
Other Pacific Island nations that will be participating are American Samoa, Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga and Tuvalu. Miss American Samoa is Margarita Philomena Johnson. Miss Cook Islands, Lydia Simonis. Miss Samoa, Sonia Piva. Miss Tonga, Kalo Funganitao. And Miss Tuvalu, Emily Pelasa Panapa.
They welcomed us with open arms. It was such a warm reception, and we enjoyed every part of the event. We had some chance to have pig and seafood from Tonga, and the reception itself was organized by a group of women and elders from the church and the village chiefs.
The week-long event will begin tomorrow with a dinner reception at Tanoa Hotel. Sunday will be the church service and lunch. Orientation will be on Monday, followed by charity visits on Wednesday. The pageant night and island creation in Sarongwe will be on Thursday night, followed by the ball and crowning on Friday night. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, President Trump has been trying to explain why his daughter Ivanka should not be locked up. She's been caught using her private email for government business. And if that rings a bell, it's what Trump said Hillary Clinton should be jailed for.
Ivanka Trump was this morning taking part in the annual pre-Thanksgiving ritual of pardoning a turkey. A light-hearted moment on the White House lawn.
I hereby grant you a full pardon.
But the first daughter stands accused of violating federal rules by using a personal email account for official government business. Trump critics are calling this gross hypocrisy, because when Hillary Clinton did something similar, well, we can all remember what Donald Trump said about that.
And Hillary Clinton should be in jail for what she did to our national security.
The issue haunted Mrs. Clinton's bid for the White House in 2016.
Going through the emails.
Republicans accusing her not just of an error of judgment, but of criminality, leading to the most notorious chant of the Trump campaign. The president said there were clear differences between Mrs. Clinton's blunder and his daughter's.
There was no deleting like Hillary Clinton did. There was no servers in the basement like Hillary Clinton had. You're talking about a whole different, you're talking about all fake news.
But given what happened in 2016, those who specialize in government ethics are astonished at Ivanka's decision to use her own vulnerable email account.
We spent 2 years litigating this issue in the public realm, in the campaign, in court, in Congress. Surely Ivanka saw at least one of the times her father called for Secretary Clinton to be jailed for engaging in conduct that looked pretty similar to this.
So this is a sample of some of our collections.
It's not the first time that Ivanka's behavior has raised ethical questions. Soon after her father's victory, the Trump family conducted a high-profile interview in which she was wearing her own branded jewelry. The bracelet she was wearing that night was marketed online. Political prominence and profits closely aligned. Just as Republicans conducted multiple investigations into Hillary Clinton, Democrats who now control the House here are relishing the prospect of opening up a probe into Ivanka's use of emails. For those Democrats, it is both symmetry and sweet revenge for 2016.
And to take us to Chukai Sports, a warning, this story could upset some viewers. Details continue to emerge about NRL star Jared Haines' alleged sexual assault on a 26-year-old woman. She was injured so badly she needed surgery to her genitals. If Haines found guilty, he faces at least 10 years in jail.
Rarely has an Australian sportsman experienced such a dramatic fall from grace as Jared Haines, now a criminally accused sex offender.
Jared, will you fight these allegations? Jared, are you worried your career's over? Jared, do you have anything to say?
The fact Haines was granted police bail at all is surprising in light of the allegations 7 News can reveal tonight. The 30-year-old is accused of going to a home north of Newcastle on NRL Grand Final night where he was greeted by his alleged victim. Police will allege Haines took the woman into a bedroom and ripped her clothes off without consent. He says there was. Police will also allege as the woman resisted, Haines bit her so savagely she bled profusely, was sent to hospital requiring surgery, and there are photos of her injuries. 7 News also understands the woman's mother was home and she will be a key witness. Detectives have also spoken with a taxi driver who claims Haines said he would be back in 20 minutes as they pulled up outside the home.
The fact that the police acted very quickly on the victim's information just highlights how seriously we take safety of everyone in New South Wales, but particularly women.
Jared Haines is also facing civil legal action in the US over claims he sexually assaulted a woman during his time at the San Francisco 49ers NFL team. This latest case is now making headlines there.
I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just not going to talk about the issues for Jared. They are serious issues, so I'm not going to add any comments to it.
The Haines strain is an unwelcome yet habitual distraction too at Eels pre-season training.
Guys, any comment about Jared Haines today? Mate, any reaction to Jared Haines? No? Do you think he'll ever play again?
Police have applauded their victim's courage. They are very protective of her. The investigation was carried out in top secret. When the woman was brought to Newcastle Police Station for interviewing, sex crimes detectives refused to tell even colleagues who she was and what they were investigating. Haines' bail conditions are strict. He is banned from the Newcastle area and must report to police 3 times a week. He is forbidden from contacting the victim, her friends or family, has had to surrender his passport and a surety of $20,000. At his mother's Central Coast home today, no sign of her, only a family friend left to field the questions.
Have you had a conversation with Jared about what's alleged to have happened?
This is National EMTV News. We check out what's happening in Trukai sports after these messages. Stay with us.
Gold Nuggets cheese, chicken and cheese and onion all just got bigger. A lot bigger. 40% bigger. Look for the new Big Plus 35-gram packs. Bigger packs, better value at the same low price. That's right. 40% more Gold Nuggets in every pack for you to enjoy.
Mining na petroleum is kulim ol tisa na building classroom longol sumatin. Mipla iputin planti money inside longol health center na all health programs. Mipla ibuilding road na bridge long bring him service longol people. Na mipla ihalivim long rausim all kind sick na give him clean water long drink longol PNG man Mary by staff healthy.
Mining na petroleum kamapim good pla behind time long Papua New Guinea.
This platok ikam long PNG Chamber of Mines na petroleum.
Mosin Plaza Garoo Shopping Mall. We bring to you the finest quality brands from Australia, ranging from dairy products, juices and spreads. Come visit us today at Mosin Plaza Ganavali Avenue, Stage 2, Garoo. Mosin Fresh Mart, store belong you me.
Lady Speedstick presents Barbara Blade in the heat of the city. More action and adventure. She's always protected and fresh and uses Lady Speed Stick that controls wetness and odor for effective protection that lasts up to 24 hours. She's always fresh, ready for anything and anyone. The new Lady Speed Stick, fresh, strong, confident.
In our harsh and vibrant landscape, Dulux Weather Shield is the perfect choice to protect your building against everything Mother Nature throws at it. Worth doing, worth Dulux.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Hebo Barramandi's coach Joe Dawes says preparations are going well for next year's T20 qualifiers and the 2019 Pacific Games. He says the winner of the T20 qualifiers will go into competing in the Global World Cup qualifiers in Australia next year.
I think it was well flighted.
With 3 international fixtures ahead for the PNG Hebo Barramandis next year,
Coach Joe Dawes says he is confident the boys will do well, especially with the home crowd advantage. The two events to look at first are the T20, which is a qualifying event into the Global World Cup qualifiers in Australia, and the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa.
Yeah, we've got a really big first quarter next year. So March here in POM, we've got the next step of our World Cup qualifying dream. So Vanuatu and team yet to be finalised, actually. I think are coming here for a T20 tournament, and the winner of that goes into the Global World Cup qualifier next year, late next year, which gets you to Australia in 2020, which is a big thing, and that's the goal that we've set ourselves.
But first, the team will have to prepare, as their first match to attend will be in Namibia in April, followed by the Pacific Games in July.
In April, we go to Namibia for a big tournament that sets us up for World Cricket League, or it's World Cricket League 2 now, or what was World Cricket League 2, for the next 3 years. So that's a really big part of our year, and then we've also got the Pacific Games in July as well. So boys are keen to go there and win gold medals.
Coach Dawes says the players have the natural ability to give them the advantage they need to be one of the best fielding teams in the world.
I think we have an advantage over most places in the world. Just the natural genetics of the PNG people are fantastic. I mean, as a fielding group, we've got a really athletic and strong fielding group, and we've set ourselves a goal to be one of the best fielding teams in the world. And people are just keen to evolve. They work hard and they're motivated to get better, which is really pleasing. And as I said, we've seen some good results with that.
He says over the years, Cricket PNG has identified young talented players and still believes that there are more raw talents out there that are yet to be identified.
I've been in cricket now professionally for over 20 years, and it's been great to me. And cricket's only growing here in PNG, and you're only going to see an improvement. And there's a lot of investment going into the game here, and it is genuinely a career opportunity for people as a player, and then moving into coaching or game development or even umpiring and things like that. So, if you're looking for a sport you want to get involved in, cricket provides a lot of opportunities for you to provide for your family moving forward, and opportunities to see the world as well.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Stay tuned. Chukai Sports continues shortly.
Chukai Sports.
Whatever our work may be, sing out strong as far as you can see. Whatever language people are taught, come on, everyone join in. An exciting adventure is about to begin. 'Cause there's one thing we all know, when it's time to get up and go. Sharing stories make the call. Our favorite biscuit, the best of all. M now, PNG. M now, PNG. M now, PNG.
I love the way you taste. I love the easy meal.
I love family dinner time.
I love my true guy.
I love the quality.
I love the yummy smell.
I love the energy and strength.
I love my true kind.
So many reasons, all of us agreeing. So put on your t-shirts and let's all sing.
I love my true guy.
I love my true kind.
I love my true kind.
Let's sing it again.
I love my true kind. I love my true kind. PNG's rice, the very best rice, 'cause we all love a true kind.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Cloudy Bay Rugby League Grand Final was played during the week between the Nibu Sharks and Moore Brothers. Brothers beat the Sharks 10 points to 0 in a physical encounter.
It was a match that kept the crowd on their feet. Both teams were dangerous in attack and brutal in defense. Brothers were the first to post points, scoring a try next to the posts. A successful conversion kick saw the scores at 6-0. Quick hands from the brothers' center and winger saw them get their second try. It was a tough conversion kick which saw the ball sway past the goalposts, leaving the score at 10-0. In the second half, the Sharks had a few opportunities but were shut down by the brothers' defense. It was a scoreless second half which eventually saw the game come to an end, with Moore Brothers claiming this year's championship. Abau Rugby League coordinator Chris Enara says there is a lot of talent in the Abau district and will be doing selections for the Central Dabaris trials.
The interest was already on, except for Abau. So we had to maneuver, work our way around, and then we contacted Kema and our Marshall Lagoon. We had to initiate those other leagues to come in because they believe the talent is here in Abau.
Enara added the Dabaris trials will be held on the 3rd to the 7th of December.
Central Dabari trials will be hosted on the 3rd to the 7th of December. So straight after your grand finals, I'm pretty sure your selections will be announced. Get yourselves ready because this team will travel down, right, and then play amongst each other, all the districts within the province.
Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports for tonight. Up next, a quick look at the weather.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
You too can now experience the refreshment of pure PNG with True Water, sourced from an ancient aquifer, carbon filtered, ultraviolet and ozone treated, and the finest purification with reverse osmosis.
And that means the science lesson is now over. Settle back and refresh yourself with PNG's finest. Reach for a chilled True water. Pure PNG.
The mining and petroleum industry trains teachers and builds classrooms. We invest millions of kina to run medical centers and health programs. We build roads and bridges to connect communities to essential services. And we help fight tropical diseases and supply clean drinking water to keep PNG healthy.
Mining and petroleum, growing PNG's future.
Brought to you by the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum.
MAPEX Training Institute.
Job-oriented certificate in diploma in business courses includes Human Resource Management, Business Management, Accounting, Information Technology, and many more. For school leavers, grade 10s, 12s, and the working class. Enrollment is now open for February 4, 2019 intakes. For more information, call us on 323-2063 or email info@mapextraining.com.pg.
My story is something different. Practicing hard at an age when it was my age to play. Returning to play within days of Dad going God's way. choosing my country again over anything else any day. I deserve something different, and so do you. Presenting new Oxen Palm Barbecue. The Oxen Palm you love with a tangy barbecue flavor that is so tasty and so different. Because PNG deserves something different.
In our harsh and vibrant landscape, Dulux Weather Shield is the perfect choice to protect your building against everything Mother Nature throws at it. Worth doing, worth Dulux.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast in the southern region only. In Port Moresby, cloudy with some drizzles, mostly fine in Daru. Showers in Kerema, partly cloudy in Alotau, and showers and thunderstorms in Popondita.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Friday, the 23rd of November 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV news team around the country, pleasant weekend. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Paradise Foods and Paradise Beverages.
It's bedtime!
Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush, brush, brush to keep cavities away. Brush, brush, brush.